Trauma has been redefined over the past 40 years or so. I can't remember when acute stress disorder and PTSD was first labeled in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual. It was sometime around the Vietnam War. Back then, trauma was defined by a life or death event or witnessing a life or death event, and the body or mind continuing to replay it or relive it. Okay, that's the old definition of trauma. Now, in 2022, we recognize that trauma could be anything. The way I like to describe it is anything that keeps you stuck is really theoretically trauma. Now, there is capital T trauma and there's lowercase t trauma. Capital T trauma is the classic traumas. That's what would be in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, like war, displacement of country, witnessing murder, family member murdered, violent attack, sexual assault, all of those type of things, capital T trauma. Lowercase t trauma is relational trauma. So relational trauma is huge. Most of us have had a relational trauma as a human being in the world. Relational traumas are when a child grows up with a parent that was not unconditionally loving, a parent that was semi-abusive, okay, which is vague. Capital T trauma is a parent that was directly abusive, physically abusive, sexually abusive. Lowercase t trauma would be a parent that withdrew their love from a child on purpose, or was inconsistent with a child, or was checked out because they were addicted to drugs or alcohol. So the child was left with this confusion and never got to complete a healthy attachment style. They never were able to fully feel safe attaching to their parent. That would lead to a lowercase t trauma and a chronic trauma, which we'll come to. Other lower t traumas would be loss of a job, loss of a relationship, any humiliating event, embarrassing event, some suffering event that didn't last long, like a mini little car accident, a fender bender. It could be the loss of a pet. Anything like that, any suffering event, right, where the body or the mind responds with shock or fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, which I'll get into. I know those are other terms. So for me, to oversimplify things, trauma is anything where we feel stuck. So if I lost my pet 5 years ago and I still can't seem to get past it, and I still have nightmares about my pet, or I can't get another pet because I'm still constantly thinking about my old pet, I need to go do some therapy. Even though everyone would say, or I shouldn't say everyone, a lot of people would say, well, everyone loses pets. What's the big deal? It's been 5 years. But there's something, I'm still stuck in replaying it, so I need to go get some trauma work, right? If there's a relationship from 20 years ago and it still haunts my dreams at night, and I'm like, I can't believe it was 20 years ago. Why am I still replaying this thing? It's ridiculous. I was like 25 at the time. There's something that has a hold in our system where it got stuck. So we need to go get some help unsticking it. So that's what I mean, that anything could be traumatic. Anything that feels stuck, that keeps us out of the present state of being. Anytime we're kicked out of the present and we can't get back to it, then we're stuck.